Thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Haize. That's Pat the Designer. On today's episode, we'll be talking about, do the Bulls have anything left that they can still show in Game 5 before the season may end? We'll talk about all that and some more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Pat and everyone, welcome to another episode of Locked On Bulls. Thank you for joining us on today's episode. Pat, man, listen, it's been a dark day in Bulls Nation, man. I don't know about you, and the thing is, I don't know how to disengage from Bulls conversation. Like, I'm always in some type of conversation on some platform about the Chicago Bulls. I don't know how to disengage from it. The depression in which we've been seeing, man, it's been deep. So we wanted to start this off, man. Is there anything left that the Bulls can still show in Game 5 that can leave any type of positive taste in the mouth of us, Bulls fans, Bulls Nation, the players themselves, the organization? What do you think, Pat?
Yes. Do not think this is a throwaway game. Yes. Winning still matters. Whether you go on to win the series or not. You were playing against the NBA champions, and they came and embarrassed you in your house 2 times in a row. Yes, I need to know, is this core going to work? I need to know how these guys can step up. But I'm going to be honest with you. I want to see these young guys show me something in these playoffs. We saw a little something from P. Will. I mean, realistically, like 15-8 he put up on that before like they pulled the plug on it, right? So ends up with 20-10, though. But a 15-8 game versus Giannis, not a bad. That's a nice start. I need to see more. There's a lot that you can still take from this. There's a lot of positive that can come. Nobody here, like if you're a Bulls fan and you really thought that we were coming in here and you predicted that we were winning in 7. Listen, I love the see red. I love looking through the see red glasses. I gave y'all scenarios where the Bulls could come ahead in the series, right? Mm-hmm. But we all said, I think you said 4-1, right? I said 4-2. I said I thought we got a couple of games. I thought we would get one at home. And listen, you still might. But there's so much that can still be seen just from competing because we haven't seen this Bulls team compete in 2 games. And guess what? Now your back's against the wall. Now you're the team that feels like the prey in this situation that is stuck up against the fence with the predator bearing down, trying to finish you off. And Zach LaVine said he's not ready to go home yet. But guess what? We've been hearing all season the words that sound good that go into this. Mm-hmm. The words that, we want to get better. We want to figure this out. We want to show me. We said it earlier in the season. Show me. Because there's something that can be gleaned from going out with a fight. If you lose in Game 5, right, maybe you still feel bad. You don't take much from it, right? Even if it's competitive. But if you find a way to win a Game 5 and get back to Chicago to try and put on a show for these fans, to try and put on a competitive game for these fans in your home building, that should be your goal right now. If you're a member of the Chicago Bulls right now, your goal should be we embarrassed ourselves in front of our city, and we need to get back there and show them what this team really is. Even if you lose a Game 6, your goal should be get the Game 6 so that we can get back to Chicago and not embarrass ourselves in front of our city. That's what I want to see the Bulls do. There's so much that can be gleaned from this. Knowing who the players are, knowing what they can do, knowing if there's any of these pieces that we really want to keep around moving into next season, all of that plays into this, man.
I agree. You want to see fight. You don't want to see a team that tucks their tail and just like, hey man, let's just get this over with, right? Yeah. If they come out with that type of energy, that is on top of already disrespecting the people who spent hundreds, thousands of dollars to come to a playoff game.
The floor seats ain't they not under 1,000.
Exactly. So like I get it. I know there's some pride in what I'm saying. There's some pride in me as a Bulls fan that says, listen, I want to see this team compete. I want to see them fight as hard as they possibly can. And you have some people on the other side like, hey, it's inevitable. Let's just get it over with. I want to see this team compete. I want to see what this team has learned from it. I want to see this team say, hey, listen, we got completely embarrassed 2 games in a row. We're not going to go out like this. We're not going to go out like this. We're going to give some fight. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to win game 5, but I want to see some damn fight from this team. I want to see this team come in and to what you said, it's to back up the words. This team has been so good. If you just go off press conferences and what the coaching staff and what the players have said after games, you would think, hey, we the best executing team in the league.
Not the coaching staff. Billy be putting them on Front Street. Billy be like, listen, you got to execute in the corner. I don't know what to tell you no more.
That one press conference where Billy said, hey, man, you can't come over me and said, hey, I missed the guy. I missed mine. Like that one was hilarious from Billy Donovan because you could tell. And you know, that's the one thing too. A lot of people have now made Billy Donovan the scapegoat for everything.
Yeah.
And while I do have some issues, I think I have more than you with coaching, Pat. I think we kind of disagree on how much coaching has played a part. But I will say this. The effort on the court that these players have been given, you can't blame that on the coaching staff. You have to have a pride as a player to come out there and play with effort, to not get completely embarrassed. Hey, you had people in game 3 dancing on your damn court that weren't part of it, and you came out in game 4 with no pride. That's not on the coaching staff. That's on these players.
Bobby Portis hits you with one of these, and you don't show me some fight in game 5, boy, I'm gonna be heated.
Listen, and so you know, this has been a season where people have tried to find their different scapegoats throughout the season. It was Vooch. It was Zach's not a superstar. It was DeMar ISO ball, even though players were sitting around watching DeMar go to work like they paid for tickets rather than be players. It's been a lot of different scapegoats for over the course of the season. And all of it has its own validity to a degree. But we need, I want, and I hope that we can see some type of fight, some type of determination from this team, no matter how they go out, when they go out, whatever happens, whether they win the series, lose the series, whatever. The thing that has sucked the most about this season for me is questioning the heart of the Chicago Bulls. No matter how good, how bad we've been, when we were scrappy teams, when we were the Kirk Heinrich, Luol Deng, Ben Gordon Bulls, we always were a scrappy team that played with heart.
Yeah.
And to question the heart of a Chicago Bulls team as a lifelong Chicago Bulls fan, it's been some of the darkest times as a fan for me.
Yeah, and it's there's certain players I can't question it with, and there's certain players that I can. And the problem is that some of the players I can are the focal points of this team, right? Like I don't know where Kobe White's head is right now. I don't know where DeMar DeRozan's head is right now. That's the biggest issue for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get this is a very tough matchup for DeMar basketball wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just is. Like, they're packing the paint. Nobody can knock down a 3. You see the one game they knock down 3s. DeMar scores 41. Nobody can knock down a 3. DeMar can't score 41. It's a very inverse relationship. But the thing that I like from this series that I can take away as a positive at a minimum, I want to try and end on a positive, is the heart that we've seen from Zach LaVine. There's a lot of people that, you know, we saw the comments in the last video. Zach's not a max. Y'all are crazy. Zach's not going to get the max. They'd be crazy to pay Zach the max. I see somebody that's giving their all for this team. I see a player that is visibly hurt on the court and cannot perform the way he wants to and is trying to perform in different ways, giving his all for his team. I need to see that from the rest of the team. And that's why, to me, Zach LaVine has to become the number 1. Because that heart is going to be spread through the rest of the team. That heart's going to go through the entire rest of the team. And so for me, I just need to see everybody else show those same traits that I'm seeing from Zach LaVine. And we haven't seen that at least the last 2 games. I can't say I didn't see it game 1 and 2, but at least the last 2 games, we definitely haven't seen it. So let's hope that we see more of that in game 5, man. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like a competitive game 5 doesn't do much for me. Y'all need to, like, if you lose, all right, we lose, season's over, it's 4-1, it's the beginning. But y'all got to show me something that you're trying to get back to the UC. You got to get back to the UC. The performance you put on in Chicago was god awful, embarrassing, and you need to put everything on the line. Like, it's this is your game 7 essentially, to get back to the United Center, to put on a show for all of these people that have paid money for you and that have shown you love and shown you support the entire season. You lose a competitive game 6, I'm fine with it.
Well, we'll see if that can happen. We're going to be down one player that we're going to talk about next. But first, I got to talk to you guys about Prize Picks. Are you looking for a daily fantasy option for the NBA? Then you need to try the award-winning app Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. We love this, and we know you will too. It's easy to use. You pick 2 to 5 players and an over/under on their projections, and you can win up to 10 times on any entries, just you versus the projected numbers. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Prize Picks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Use the award-winning app on both the App Store and Google Play. Prize Picks offers you any prop you can think of, from points scored to rebounds and steals. Prize Picks also allows for mixed sports entries. You can mix NFL, soccer, MLB, college basketball. For a limited time, Prize Picks has an exclusive no-brainer offer for all of our users. Users get $50 free if any player in your first Prize Pick entry scores a single point, but you must use code NBA. That's right. This is an exclusive offer available to Locked On fans. Sign up today and use the code NBA for $50 free if any player in your first Prize Pick entry scores a single point. We also want to thank you for listening to Locked On Bulls and making us your first listen. Next up, you after you listen to us, you want to make Locked On now your next listen. And that's nightly recaps of every NBA game with analysis from our local experts. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Pat, next topic up, man. Unfortunately, a player who's been the heart and soul of the Bulls' defensive effort in many ways in this playoff series, Alex Caruso, is in the NBA concussion protocols, putting in doubt if he's going to be able to play in Game 5. How do you think this impacts the team? You said that you don't even want to just see a competitive Game 5. You want to see a win in Game 5 to try to get back to the United Center. What do you think this does to their chances?
It hurts them. For sure. We know what Caruso is. And on the flip side of that, right, I understand that we saw Ayo get in and make some pretty quick production, right?
Mhm.
But we've seen Ayo versus Drew Holiday not go the way that we've hoped, right? And Ayo's probably getting the start in that moment. I'd be surprised if you saw anybody else in there, right? Like, there's a lot of people that felt like it should have been Ayo the entire time. But to me, right, this is a moment now where you have seen, at least early in the season when we had those injuries, that next man up mentality. Ayo Dosunmu stepped in and had excellent next man up mentality. Stepped into the role, did an excellent job for the Chicago Bulls this season. Hopefully he can do it here for you in the playoffs, right? But the biggest thing that you have to try and do is, and honestly, the biggest way you're going to win this game, somebody has to step up that's not named Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan. The reason that Milwaukee has been so deadly versus us is not just because Drew Holiday's doing what Drew Holiday's supposed to do, right? Not because Giannis is doing what Giannis is supposed to do, right? It's because Grayson Allen stepped up. It's because Bobby Portis stepped up. Guys who, now Bobby Portis plays that way. I kind of expected it from him too, but guys who are the role player, guys who are the, hey, I'm just going to step into this role and I'm going to try and do my job to the best of my ability, not only on the offensive end, but on the defensive end for Grayson Allen. He stepped up. Who's going to be that guy for the Bulls? That's where you got to start looking around your locker room right now. You know Alex Caruso's out. Hey, P. Will, guess what? I'm sorry, you don't have the luxury to not take a shot. You don't have the luxury to not be aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not aggressive in this game, we will be going home. You need somebody to step up, somebody key to step up. And hopefully for me, that's going to be P. Will. And that translates to the rest of the team. Now, all of a sudden, DeMar DeRozan can get to the bucket. Now, all of a sudden, Zach LaVine can do the things he does well, right? Like, but you have to open up those opportunities for them. Like I said in the last segment, like we've been saying the entire time, when they shot the ball well, DeMar could play.
Yeah.
You have to do those things to make, and the Bucks have sold out completely. You saw in those last two, really in that last game, but kind of the last two, they said, we'll let you shoot as much as you want. We're not running out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point in it. You're not going to make more of them than you're going to miss. And we can run back on the other end off of your miss and go get an easy bucket. So you need somebody that's going to step up in that role. I don't know who that's going to be. Maybe Kobe White finally figures out, hey, I'm supposed to shoot the basketball and it goes in. But we'll see kind of what happens from there. What do you how do you think this affects us moving forward?
I mean, I think it definitely affects just the energy of the team. When you look at like some of the momentum changing plays that we had in the first two games, especially in that game 2, they were caused by Alex Caruso. When you look at the fact that Alex Caruso was able to draw offensive fouls on Giannis pretty consistently in those first 2 games. You know, those type of things, those little things, the buckets, the steals, the things that got the Bulls out in transition, those were all kind of started by Alex Caruso. Now, you don't want to trust or think that I was just going to replace that himself. You don't want any one player to try to replace that. That's where the energy comes from with this team. They need to try to take what Alex Caruso did in the example that he set and bring that and use that as an energy for this whole team in Game 5.
And here's the thing too. So here's the NBA's rule on concussion protocols. Essentially summarized up, a player will undergo neurological evaluation followed by continued monitoring for a period of 24 hours. So it's not the reason that Billy Donovan said it's up in the air, it's because it's not a guarantee Caruso won't play, right?
Yeah.
But if tomorrow doesn't go well and they don't feel like he's good to go, he won't be able to play in that game. So there's still a snowball chance. I mean, he took a pretty good shot. We saw it when it had. I mean, I thought he broke his nose. I didn't think he wasn't coming back for a concussion. I thought they had broken his nose because he got hit and it instantly started leaking. So
Yeah.
hopefully hopefully first and foremost he's okay. But finding out this now, right, should change the whole mindset of the guys that are going to have to step up. Now you don't have the luxury to be a role player. I'm sorry. I would assume I get that you're 20. It may not go the way we hope it goes, but you got to figure it out. P. Will, or I would assume it's not 20. What's he, 22, 23, something like that?
22.
P. Will, I get your 20. Now's the time. This is your moment. Otherwise, you're going home. And you never know with the NBA, right? P. Will thought he was going to come in and have a great season this year.
Yeah.
Gets hurt. Take advantage of these moments when these moments come to you. This is your opportunity to step up and make a difference on this team. Your name is made in the playoffs. It doesn't matter how many times we say it. Make your name this playoff. Somebody's got to make their name in this playoffs right now. And hopefully it's Zach LaVine. But I would love to see
Pat, I got to tell you, bro. I don't know if anybody's making their name in this playoffs, bro. I don't
disagree.
Yeah.
But it's just about taking advantage of the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, This was an opportunity where you went back home tied 1-1 in a series that they thought was going to be a clean sweep. You blew that opportunity. Now it's 3-1. Your back's against the wall. How much fight you got left in you? How much are you going to show? How much of that Caruso intensity, right, can you carry over? Can you carry any of it over? There's a lot of question marks on this team, and hopefully they'll be able to figure it out going into this Game 5, man. It's gonna be tough, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm gonna be disappointed if we lose in Game 5, but don't get me wrong. I 100% understand you climbing Mount Everest right now.
Yeah.
But hey, man, if you feel confident about these Bulls, go ahead and head over to Bet Online. Get your wager in, man. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info, for all the latest sports development, league reviews, and news, including this year's NBA playoffs and the start of the Major League Baseball season, which for my White Sox is... BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head over to the website and use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Sox 6-9. Let's go ahead and keep that moving. So the question that I'm sure is on the tip of a lot of tongues, I'm sure a question that we're going to be answering and fielding voicemails from and things like that over the course of the whole offseason. is a core of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan enough? Now, we were riding high at one point when DeMar and Zach were the highest scoring duo in the NBA, right? The most winningest duo in the NBA for a while there as well. Came back down to earth. Now, the one thing that I will say starting this off is that building anything around DeMar is going to be very limited just because of the type of player that he is. And that's not to knock on him. He can be very effective in the type of player he is. But when you have a player that operates basically 100% in the mid-range with an occasional three-point shot that he takes, it really does change how you have to build that, because at that point you need almost everybody else on the floor to be a three-point threat.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think AK and Eversley now see this? Look at the core of Zach and DeMar and says, "Hey, nah." Not necessarily saying. Let me be clear. I'm not saying that they trade DeMar or anything like that. But do you think that they try to change up the makeup of this team going into this offseason rather than what it was coming into this season? Go ahead, Pat.
I think you have to, right? Like, when you talk about a core, I think of something that's going to be together for a while, right? For me, core's a 5-year, 6-year plan. We have our core. We have our group of guys that we're going forward with no matter what happens. These are our guys. And I understand in the NBA that changes hourly, legitimately. Like, Rudy Gobert might not be on the Jazz next year. Who'd have thought that when they gave him $200 million? But for me, the biggest thing this team has to have happen for it to be a serious core, right? Like a championship level team, Zach needs to take another step, or maybe the step he would have taken if he's 100% healthy. And you need AK's bet to pan out. AK made a bet on P. Will. Shout out Bet Online. AK made a bet on P. Will. AK picked him at 4. There's pieces behind P. Will that have developed and have shown a little bit more in the NBA. Nothing crazy, but they've given you similar, if not better, production on a more consistent basis, have been more healthy. AK took a bet. He took a flyer, and he believes in P. Will. For this Bulls team to take that next step, what AK believes has to be true. You do not win in this NBA without a transcendent player. Everybody who's won just about the NBA championship, maybe minus Dirk, but even with him, right, one of the best big men of all time. Bron, Kobe, Jordan, Magic, Bird.
Detroit Pistons are probably the only one that stand out on that one.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of teams that don't have that, oh my God, look at that, look what that guy's able to do with a basketball player that win an NBA championship. Even Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade got his one, right? That was kind of the anomaly in that. And then he got LeBron James, and he got a couple of more.
Yeah.
You need a transcendent player to win in the NBA. The best talent, more times than not, I forgot Curry, more times than not, will always win. So AK's bet has to pan out. P. Will, if that's going to be the guy, or Marco or Io or whoever we draft next year, if we do draft somebody, if we get rid of the pick, either way, whatever you do, if you go find somebody, if you go add something in free agency, if you go trade for Rudy Gobert, or you go trade for, right, but you need a player that you can look at and you say, that dude is the best thing at what he does. I can say that about Giannis. I can say that about Kevin Durant, maybe not in this series. Sweep. I can say that about LeBron James when he was doing what he was doing. And even to a point this season, right? That's what you need to win in this NBA. Do we have that on this team? That's the question you have to ask with how this team is built right now.
I think even so, the thing is that if you don't have to have a transcendent star, you have to have two players that are on almost the precipice, if not a full team, right? A full team of just hitters. The reason why Detroit was able to be a contender as long as they were is that whole roster from top to bottom was just built to go. So looking at the core of DeMar and Zach, like I said, the thing that worries me so much about it is that it's limited. Even if Zach does go to the place that it looked like he was going to go before the injury started hurting him. I still think, and I've always said this though, is that DeMar was never meant to be this player that got the Bulls to championship contention. It was meant to be, hey, this is a solid player. This is a veteran who can help as we grow Patrick Williams, as we grow Zach LaVine, as we get ready to give him his MAC contract. That's always what that was. And I think that Bulls fans forgot that because of how good we started off this season. But keep in mind, the signing of DeMar DeRozan was never meant to be, all right, we got our superstar that's going to get us to championship contention. It was never meant to be that.
I agree 100%, right? And I think it turned into more than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a lot of people that really believe that with Lonzo on this team, this series is completely different. With Lonzo on this team is completely different, right? You can't forget about the contribution he gives you.
That's
but
facts.
even with that, when you get to the second round versus Boston, are you better than them?
Listen, the way Boston is playing right now,
right?
They may sweep us in 3 games, and you need 4 to win.
I mean, honestly, right? And then if you by some miracle of the imagination get past them, are you better than Miami? Are you better than, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of players in this Eastern Conference that are in your way. And you have to find that piece that's going to put you above all the rest. Because even Miami's kind of like that Detroit team, right? I'd say Jimmy Butler's a star. I don't know if I'd call him a superstar at this point, right? Like
at this point in his career, Jimmy Butler's a star.
I've said that at points in his career, he was a superstar level player. He was a top 10 level player. But I think at this point in his Miami career, he's a star. But guess what? So's Bam Adebayo. You got a couple of stars, and then I have very, very above average role players on that team that can step in at any moment and go off for a crazy game. Like that's probably your Detroit of the modern NBA. But other than that, Kevin Durant and Kyrie, they just got eliminated by Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who are going to go up against Giannis and Drew Holiday, who are going to be facing Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, right? And that's just the Eastern Conference. There's a lot of stacking. There's a lot of stars stacked on teams. And so it's not so much do you have just Zach, but who's going to be that next guy that's going to meet that level? And not to take anything away from DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan played like a star, but DeMar DeRozan is the one. And that could be, do you think that that's maybe the thing right there? Like DeMar DeRozan is the one might be the simple issue. If Zach LaVine is the one, Zach LaVine's shooting threes, Zach LaVine's attacking the paint, that opens things up for DeMar. And maybe more in rhythm if Zach is the one that's leading the way, because we've seen that Zach's the more willing passer.
Zach has to stay healthy.
That's the switch.
Zach has to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, and when it's all boils down to it, Zach has to stay healthy. Zach has to also, something that me and you kind of talked about before we officially started recording. Zach has to realize, you're a pretty damn good defender when you're locked in. You have to be locked in 82 games, 48 minutes, 82. Because if you want to be this superstar, if you want to be looked at as this next great player, if you want to be looked at as the next person to lead the Chicago Bulls to do anything significant, you got to lock in defensively. And the thing that makes it so frustrating for Zach defensively for me is the fact that we've seen stretches from Zach where he's looked absolutely fine defensively.
Yeah.
And it literally just comes from a lack of effort. The fact that you have the ability to be so good at something, but you just say, hey, nah, that's not me. It's super frustrating to me. If you just didn't have the skill to do it, you didn't have the skill. But I've seen so much from Zach LaVine in stretches defensively, after he's gotten called out defensively, in certain games defensively. I think sometimes people forget too. One of the first, after Zach's came back from his knee injury, we played Jimmy Butler when he was on the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Zach LaVine stepped up defensively and guarded Jimmy Butler, and he sat there and said, this is my city. This was Zach's first season here with the Chicago Bulls. And that showed me when this kid wants to be locked in, the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah.
We need that intensity every single night in and night in. And I really thought the Olympics taught him that, but I don't know if it's the injuries. I don't know what it was, but we need that version of Zach LaVine.
That's what I was going to ask. How much is it the injury taken away, right? Like with a knee you can't cut him playing as much. We saw him in the playoffs visibly like limping, not running as hard, not running as much. You know what I'm saying? Very, very different dynamic. And I know, like, especially with cutting and planning and stuff like that, even on the offensive end, that's a struggle. On the defensive end, hey, I got to keep up with Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can see that being tough for him. But it's about how much of it is it, right? Like, and we'll never know. But it's like me and you both feel the same way. When this season ends, it's gonna be Zach LaVine will be reporting for surgery in about an hour, and he'll be back at the beginning of training camp.
Oh yeah, for sure. Listen, and I used to fight that for a while there, but it's clear the writing's on the wall. Like, even if it's just a surgery to clean out the knee or some stuff like that, he's getting some form of surgery in this offseason. I'm willing to bet on.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, though, man.
I mean, as long as it's not ACL reattach, like the scopes and cleaning outs and all that. That's really, hey, listen,
It's
that's
routine.
knee maintenance, man.
Yeah, it's routine.
He's already shown he's bounced back from the and he's regained all of his athleticism from tearing his ACL. It's really just maintenance for it. And hey, just like you need a tune up with your car from time to time, Zach needs a tune up for that knee.
Yeah. I wonder if, and this is the other thing I want Bulls fans to think about. He probably could have elected to had it and probably been back for the playoffs.
Yeah.
He probably just said, I'm not doing it now.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, think about it. Like, he literally is just like, nah, I'm gonna deal with it. I want to go out there and win.
Same thing with the thumb, right?
Yeah.
Same thing he did with the thumb.
I love it. And that if y'all want to get, man, that's a Chicago player. That's a Chicago player. Out of anybody on this team, how you feeling? Broken. Let's go. That's the kind of player I want on my team, man. Let's go, man. Let's go. Hey, game 5, let's get a dub. That's all I'm worried about. Let's go.
Yeah. Next time we come to you guys, it will be the day of game 5. They finally announced the time, so it's 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern.
Well, at least you get a break on that one.
Yeah. All right, man. Pat, anything left? If not, give me social media, man. Let's go ahead and check out.
Man, anything y'all heard tonight, man, just let us know in the comments below how you feel about it, your thoughts on it. We love to hear from you as well. And if you're listening on the podcast side, man, leave a nice little 5-star review for your boys, man. We appreciate that love, man. Somebody left a review and said, Pat, stop pausing after everything you say. That was hilarious to me. I'm not going to lie to you, because I definitely pause after every sentence I say. Hey, follow me on everything at Pat the Designer, man. That's at PATTHEDESIGNER. Yes, I did go to public school, but they taught me how to spell. And then follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls.
And you can follow me at CEO Haize, at CEO HAIZE. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Locked On Bulls. We'll be getting into you guys' mailbag. Maybe we'll dive in that tomorrow. Maybe we'll go ahead and dive in that mailbag tomorrow. Before we go, though, I definitely want to thank you again for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. Now you guys can go check out Locked On NBA. From the first jump ball of the play-in tournament to the last possession of the finals, Locked On experts take you deep inside the playoffs with insight and analysis affecting all 30 teams. So go check them out on the work that they do over there. You can catch our very own Pat the Designer over there as well on Wednesdays. But that is it from us for today. This has been Locked On Bulls. We love you guys, man. Peace, y'all.
Peace.